What is up, Rally Town fam? Apologize for the audio issues. We have got it all figured out. Corey got himself some new headphones, so we had to change the source on Streamlabs. Looking good in those, sir.
Thank you.
Um, as always, with me, Corey and Mr. Todd Gottschall. Um, not to let's just get into it. We had some great football over the weekend. Um,
I think
probably,
that was the best weekend of football I've ever watched in my life.
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's exactly the best weekend of football that I've seen in my 30 years on this planet. So, I think there's a ton of people that would agree with you. I know, when I went and did my video game stream, everybody was coming in. Did you watch the games? What'd you think? Like everybody had the same conclusion that it was just there was not a bad game over the weekend.
No.
It was
Nope.
an absolute pleasure to watch. I do want to brag a little bit because I did so poorly with the picks in the regular season. I went 3-1 over the weekend. The only game that I missed was the 49ers beating the Packers, which
You might not be the 3 mile horse, but you're a sprinter, Bob.
yeah, I got a quick first step. That's it, and
You're
then I'm
you're
just done
you're
after
lock
that.
you're locking it down here in the postseason. You're a closer. You're Mariano Rivera.
Wow. That's one of the highest
Whew.
compliments you can give a man.
I think I did. Yeah, I think it's
Thank you. I can retire. I'll see you guys.
All we need is Enter Sandman just playing right now in the background.
do,
That would just cap
do,
it off
do.
perfectly.
Yeah, that's one of those songs you just have to just
Oh,
love it, love it, love it. Well, let's get into it. The first game on the board for the weekend was the Bengals Titans. I know Todd and I did a couple lives at halftime and after the game. Um, that was one of the best football games I've watched, and I think the one thing that really just sells this Bengals team for me is just the confidence that these young players have,
Oh God.
especially Evan McPherson, which you cannot get an Evan McPherson jersey right now if you tried. They are sold out across the country, FYI.
you can't even make one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
The
can't.
customs are shut down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this dude had the gigantic balls to say, "Hey, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship, boys," and he goes out there and drills a 52-yard field goal.
I
Like,
literally was talking to my wife after that. I was like, this guy is a fucking gangster, dude. Like he is just he's a gangster. Like that is all. He's a cold-blooded killer. Like what Joe Burrow is in a quarterback, this dude is that in a kicker, and it is just it's awesome. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
did. You guys catch the clip from the Pat McAfee show?
Yes.
no, I did
So
not.
all
Can you
right,
please
so
send
the
me the
first
link?
yeah,
You're gonna tell me about it, but I still want to watch it.
yeah for sure. So McPherson's on the Pat McAfee show. Obviously, McAfee, punter slash kicker in the NFL, and Um, he's got, hey, so I saw that football on your desk. He's McPherson talking to McAfee and Bruce, fuck off. But I also, sorry, Bruce in the chat saying Chiefs Niners Super Bowl. Um, he's like, yeah, I saw that football on your desk. He's like, what, with all the Vinatieri records on it? He's like, yeah, yeah. What's the last one there? The postseason field goals made. He's looking at it. He's like, 14 postseason, yeah, single postseason field goals made record. 14, Adam Vinatieri. He's like, you're at 13 points. How many field goals you at? It's like 8. So I was saying before the postseason, I was like, it'd be pretty cool if I broke that. And McAfee's like, just fucking calm down, all right? You're Adam Vinatieri played football for a long time. He's like, all right, I'm just saying.
He
I
was
thought
in a
it'd be
lot of
cool to break it.
postseasons.
I thought it'd be cool to break it.
Yeah. Brian coming in with a comment. FYI, I can't sleep. I'm a wreck, boys. Well, I think you and the rest of Bengals Nation is probably in a similar situation.
Dude,
Um,
thank
so,
God for my sales team this week because I've been so unproductive. I have just been riddled with thoughts not related to work for most of the week.
yeah, it's a daunting task this week for the Bengals, going up against a very very strong Chiefs team, coming off a great win, playing a great team in the Buffalo Bills. Um, and if I remember correctly, Pat Mahomes said that we'll see the Bengals in the playoffs, and that's that's not something you want to hear, especially when it comes to fruition. So, Todd, what are you thinking this week? And I mean, I don't. Do we really want to talk about the games this week, or do we want to save that for Sunday?
I want to talk about him this week. We'll get into a little bit of what Sunday's going on, but let's save the Bengals for last,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
But
No, I was just
we can
thinking that
talk
as I said, as like we probably just need to put that on the back burner.
no, we got some treats for you guys for this weekend, though. Little treats.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna feed you, baby
Well,
birds.
in some other news, Ben Roethlisberger announced his retirement today. He put out a 2-minute video or plus. I watched it. It was a really nice video. It had basically just him and his family and him cleaning out his locker and just kind of saying goodbye to the Pittsburgh community and thanking the organization for having him be his quarterback for 18 years. So yeah, it was really nice. I think everybody saw it coming, but it leaves the question of who's going to take the helm. And I know a lot of speculation has gone to the guy that just lost to the 49ers. Realistically speaking, who do you guys think is going to take over quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Corey?
Russell Wilson.
Ooh.
I hope that's correct. I think it's probably gonna end up with Derek Carr. Is my assumption there. This all stems back to my grand scheme hypothesis that Brian Flores is the inevitable next coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Deshaun Watson will join him, and Derek Carr will be traded to Pittsburgh. That's just my theory. Obviously, Russ is in play there as well. Deshaun is in play there as well. I'd be happy with Russell or Derek as a Bengals fan having to play the Steelers twice. I'd prefer Russell or Derek over Deshaun Watson, obviously.
Same.
But also, it would be really, really funny if the Steelers signed Deshaun Watson and then he went to jail for 20 years. That would be awesome.
Wow, appreciate all the love. Yeah, as a fan, I don't have a lot of faith in Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph as being the next up. Obviously, we got to see Mason Rudolph quite a bit last year with Ben being out, and we didn't really get to see anything great out of him. And then obviously Dwayne Haskins, I have a work ethic issue with him. I just don't know if he wants it. I think he's got the talent to be good, be a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback, but if he applied himself a little bit more, I think he could be decent.
Yeah, so here's my thing with Dwayne Haskins, and I think there's a lot of delusional Buckeye fans out there that think that he's going to get an opportunity in the foreseeable future. He would have gotten his chance this year if they really thought that he was capable of being an NFL quarterback. Let's be realistic. There were plenty of.
You think they would have benched Ben Roethlisberger?
No, I'm saying when Mason Rudolph played when Ben went down, right?
Sure.
So if Haskins was the answer to the filling the void in the foreseeable future, then they would have given him that opportunity then. That's my theory, right? Rather than throwing a guy out there again who is known for mediocrity, right? Yeah. Not a strong NFL quarterback. So I think that I heard people up here in Columbus like, well, Dwayne Haskins is finally going to get his chance to be a starting quartalizing No. That's just not going to happen.
He had one his rookie year.
You're absolutely right.
Are we compartmentalizing all of that whole season because of the dog shit that was out there?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing about up here is that just, Ohio State thinks that they produce, or Ohio State fans, that is, think they produce just the best talent at the quarterback position, when realistically they are better with skill positions, such as wide receiver.
You could say any
running back,
right now besides
wide receiver, O-line,
tight ends, defense, linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks. Yeah. They're all better than any quarterback that's been produced out of Ohio State.
Correct.
You can just call that spade a spade. They don't produce NFL quarterbacks. They never have. Brian Day doesn't do it either. I don't think C.J. Stroud fits that mold in the future. So
I think he is the best. If C.J. Stroud was in the draft, I think he'd be the number one overall pick.
You think so?
Yeah. I think he is the. Yeah. Oh yeah. Bryce Young is a toothpick, ready to be snapped in the NFL. Bryce Young needs to put on some fucking weight if he wants to be successful. Like we're learning right now as we're watching the NFL that Tua, Kyler, I don't know, guys. I don't know if these guys have it. Like Kyler's really exciting and fun to watch, but to go the full regimen of an NFL season, you need some meat, man. You need some even Josh Allen, who's basically the number two running back of the Bills, is like, hey, yeah, I'm not gonna play in the Pro Bowl because I need some time, and he's a large
Right.
fucking guy. He's a big dude.
Right.
So these small like getting away from the prototype. I think that thing is just gone now. I don't think we're gonna be really seeing a lot of sub 6 or not even 6 foot, but like 5'10", 190 quarterbacks getting drafted on a regular basis in the top five anymore. I just don't see it.
Hold on a second, guys. I gotta do something real quick. I didn't know we could do this.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. You ready?
Should I be excited? Yeah, I'm really. All right, let's see it.
Just make sure you're watching the chat.
Oh, okay, I'm watching the chat. Oh, I'm excited. Just went from 6 to midnight. Bobby, you've got me on pins and needles.
Oh wait a minute, why didn't it do it?
Didn't do it. Didn't do it. Didn't come through.
It gave me the option to send stars.
You're
and
Dwayne Haskins.
It wouldn't let me do it.
Right now.
It said send stars to support Rally Towel Sports, and I clicked it, and then it said send stars, and it wouldn't let me do it.
We'll get it figured out.
Huh? I didn't know we could do that yet. I do need
Our
to address a comment by Brian though.
Our producer will take care of it.
He said Steelers can finally get cheerleaders. Wow, congratulations.
That's that's something, huh? I did see a comment that was like, the city of Pittsburgh is honoring Ben Roethlisberger by erecting gold statues in every woman's restroom in the city.
Oh my God!
Oh, Christ!
So they just won't let that die, huh?
So Brian coming in with another comment and said Burrow did an interview where he said OSU built him into the quarterback that he is today.
To be specific, though, it was the other quarterbacks that he was with while at Ohio State. He didn't say Ohio State University.
Do you know which one in specific that he was referring to?
It was JT Barrett, right?
It was. He said JT Barrett helped lead him into the leader to mold him into the leader that he is today. So
that's saying a lot.
That is a huge nod. I also saw, just kind of on this topic, there's a story about the moment that Joe Burrow became Joe Burrow. They were playing UCF his junior year at LSU in the bowl game.
Yep.
UCF was one of the undefeated team at the time. LSU's down 7-0 to UCF. Burrow rolls out and gets hit, and he's down on the ground. And the UCF guy is standing over top of him, calls him a fucking pussy, and spits on him while he's on the ground. Joe Burrow then proceeds to lay 49 fucking points on UCF as they whitewash them out of the fucking stadium. They say that moment was the moment that Joe Burrow became Joe Burrow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that's crazy.
That's gonna light a fire under anybody.
I got chills just telling that story. That's just
that's what I just felt like. I just got goosebumps thinking about that. That says a lot about.
He's just like, yep, no more. Done with that.
Fuck that, right? That's crazy. Good for him.
But so I did want to make one more comment about future quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. Honestly, if it's Russ, depending on what the Steelers do this offseason, you want an idea of what your team's going to look like, just look at Seattle. You're just going to be the Seahawks next year. Because I saw Russell Wilson with no offensive line last year, the year before. If he gets a line, I think he's a little bit more accurate. I think he's better. I think that improv aspect of Russ's game is getting dialed back a little bit. We saw that a lot in his first 5 seasons in the NFL. I think that's been dialed in a little bit more. He's becoming more of a solid pocket passer, which is fine. There's no knock in that.
Right.
But Steelers need an offensive line badly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a fact.
I would definitely agree with that. In regard to let's kind of get back to the games over the weekend. 49ers Packers. What a cold game. I
Took me
think,
back to my youth watching that one, man. That was just like a classic
Yeah,
Lambeau playoff game.
yeah, low scoring,
it was.
just beating the crap out of each other. Um, ending with, I mean, 3 or 4 games this weekend ended with a game-winning field goal
Yeah, all
in the
walk
last
off.
in the last 4 seconds
Yeah,
of the game, and
yeah.
I mean, we can't say it enough. Can you ask for a better weekend of football? The answer is no.
No, and you heard
Um,
it a lot here in Detroit sports radio. They're like, "How do I go watch Michigan State, Wisconsin college basketball now? How do I do that? How
you
do I go
can.
watch mid-season bullshit college basketball? How do I? I can't. I can't
Nope.
anywhere. Like fuck you, Chiefs and Bills. I'm ruined. No
Yeah,
sports are good enough now, other than football
yeah. I would
playoffs.
I would say that's the best game of the weekend. We'll get to that here in a second. Um, but yeah, do you think this is Aaron Rodgers' last game in Green Bay?
Yes, I do think that.
Ooh,
I
bold
do.
take. Let's go. Let's hear more.
So I would have a different answer even if they would have just won this game specifically, because I don't think that you don't attribute this loss to Aaron Rodgers, right? He didn't play poorly necessarily. He didn't play.
It wasn't Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he didn't
He
play
wasn't
top tier. He
MVP,
didn't.
which
Right.
he got.
He wasn't MVP, but it was also like that. It just other conditions led to that. I think Green Bay's defense played well, but I just don't see Aaron Rodgers coming back after. There's been too much. He postured too much against Green Bay, and then now he didn't really fulfill his end of the bargain with his posturing by getting them through the playoffs to the Super Bowl. So really, he doesn't have as much of a leg to stand on against the organization anymore. So I think that's where he makes his departure. I think if they even if they win this game, he comes back because now he's like, all right, I won us a playoff game. I understand. I don't think they would have made it past whether it was the Rams or Tampa Bay in this game this week, but um,
Wow.
I don't think so. I'm just historically.
I don't think we would have said that 2 weeks ago, though.
Well,
I don't think.
I'm
Go ahead.
basing
Sorry.
mine off of the fact that Aaron Rodgers doesn't get past the NFC Championship game. That's just
Sure.
there's facts to that, right? Like
He
I
did
just
get
don't
past
trust
it
him.
once and whooped the fucking Steelers. I remember that.
Sure, one time of what 7? This was his 7th or 8th playoff appearance,
Yeah.
right? So statistics tell me that he doesn't have good odds of making it to the Super Bowl. So that's why I say that. I think if you stack team to team against anybody in the NFC, they're the best team, right? I think that there's proof to that. But Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in the playoffs, the Packers as a whole in the playoffs, they just don't play as well. And
Yeah.
they didn't. They didn't play good against San Francisco. San Francisco didn't play good against Green Bay. That was like it was an exciting game because it came down to a last second field goal. It's not like the game itself
And the
was.
block punt.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I mean, I think that it's not like, oh my gosh, one person stands out. This is why this game was so great. It was just a great game because a wild card team beat the best team in the NFC. That's what makes this game great, in my opinion. But
Yeah. I think there's a couple of statistics that I enjoyed learning and I'd love to throw out here. So you mentioned NFC championships. Aaron Rodgers obviously has won one NFC championship game. He shares that honor with Rex Grossman, who has also won one NFC championship game. Uh, Aaron Rodgers
is
is
that when he was with
also
the Bears?
correct. Yeah, Rex Grossman took the Bears to the Super Bowl to lose to the Colts for Peyton's first Super Bowl championship. Um, Also, Aaron Rodgers is the losingest starting quarterback in the playoffs. So he has more playoff losses than any other quarterback. Um, if I'm a Packers fan, I fucking hate Aaron Rodgers right now. I hate him. I
Yeah.
absolutely hate him because he has ravaged your salary cap, absolutely ravaged it, and left you in no position to be successful going forward. The Packers are in such a hard place right now. I think they're pretty confident that Jordan Love isn't it. I think a lot of people are pretty confident in that statement, just basing off the way that I've seen him play in go in their scenarios. It's not like he came out and set the world on fire. Actually, I think he threw 2 interceptions against the Lions in the regular season finale, if I'm not mistaken. So, anyway, the Packers organization as a whole, the fan base. I'm done with Aaron Rodgers, and I spent this whole regular season talking about how much I love Aaron Rodgers. I love how he's like screw you kind of mentality. I'm gonna get mine. Like I loved his edge about him, but I am done with the notion that we need him as a league. Like ah, maybe I'll grace you with my presence next year. I'll have to think about it. I'll go spend some time at a resort, smoke some weed with my fucking celebrity friends, and I'll think about it, man. I'll think about it. Like, fuck off, Aaron. We don't need you. We don't. The league has never been in better hands. If you guys think that the Manning times two, Brady, Big Ben, Philip Rivers, if you think that era was fun, just wait. Just wait. The young quarterbacks in this league are shoulders above what we had in the mid 2000s, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Aaron Rodgers, thank you for your time. We're done as a league. You can go off into the sunset, and I really think his legacy is tainted by the way that he's behaved over the last 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, yeah. Really, this stems back 2 years, right? Because 2 years ago was when the initial contract extension talk started, and he was very adamant that Green Bay needed him, but he didn't need Green Bay. That's kind of been his take on this during the whole duration of this negotiation. Well, Green Bay doesn't need you if you're not going to get him to the level they need to get to, right? So
Two
that
two straight divisional round losses at home.
yes, that's
Two straight.
exactly that's exactly
Andy
where I was
Dalton
going.
shit.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. Is you can't even get it done at home in front of your home crowd.
Right.
And
That's a good point.
I'm with Corey. I think yeah, and I think if I'm a Packers fan, I'm more concerned that this guy has literally. I mean, if you look at Green Bay financially, they're in trouble because they can't sign a good quarterback right now. They don't have the space to sign a good quarterback. They're going to have to move a couple pieces to bring somebody in, or they're going to have to draft somebody and hope that they're good, they're ready in 2 years. And you're going to have to deal with the Jordan Love. You're going to have to sign an older veteran quarterback and just basically pray that AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones can get you 8 or 9 wins. That's really where they're at right now. If Aaron Rodgers does not sign with Green Bay, that's my perspective at least.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough spot for the Packers. It's gonna be interesting to see. There's gonna be a ton of moves this offseason. We're already beginning to see some moves and signings, new GMs, new head coaches. People are starting to find homes now that there's only 4 teams left in the playoffs. So, these interviews that teams have asked for offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators that are now out of the playoffs, those can happen. So. I would assume over the next couple of weeks we're going to start seeing some slots filled. It'll be interesting to see where everybody goes. Yeah. So moving on to the next game of the weekend, Rams Bucks. Tom Brady had some thoughts after the game. I think he came out with a tweet or response, saying basically he's not done. People are, always going to question it after every season with Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady done? And he basically just came out and said, "Hey, we lost, but we put up a great fight." And he didn't say it, but basically he'll be back.
I didn't hear that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he complimented the Rams, and he doesn't think that they that he's washed up by any means, and nobody thinks that. Especially with the comeback that they had against the Rams.
No,
4 minutes
no,
left,
he
and
is not. He
they
is not
scored 2
washed up.
touchdowns in a minute and a half, and
Yeah.
put his team in a position to win the game, and the Rams just got it done.
That's interesting to hear because of the immediately following the game, he was reminiscing and talking about family and the importance of being there and being in the moment, and you never really know, when your time is up here on this earth, and made a reference to Kobe Bryant in that regard, and just talked about the value of being home and with family. So those talks immediately after the game was like, yeah, he's fucking done. Like, this guy is totally hanging it up. But I mean, sure, come on back. Yeah. I like seeing Tom Brady. I like seeing history written. Love for Burrow to beat him in the Super Bowl next year. That'd be great. So yeah, come on back, Tom. We'll see you.
Yeah, I think he was sticking around, trying to see if he could get to 10 rings. I think that was really probably one of his personal goals, but not getting there this year. I think he's reassessing. He's like, I don't know if I can do this for three more
Give me one
seasons.
more.
Yeah. Well,
And
I think he's turning 45 going into this next season. That's an incredible feat, regardless.
Yeah.
To make it through four and a half decades of life, and you're playing football for over really 60% of it at that point. So I think next year is probably, as my guess, is his year that he probably kind of does his farewell tour, because he's a guy that doesn't he's a spotlight guy, but he's not a guy that, like, they're not going to give him the going out Dirk Nowitzki farewell tour like they did his last year in Dallas, right? There's not going to be banners and shit like that hanging around for Tom Brady. It's just, I think he wants to go out, he wants to win his 11 games, get through the playoffs, and then I think that it's going to be not like a reminiscent thing. Game's over, he gets a mic drop, I'm done, and he's gone. And just kind of a flash in the pan kind of thing for him.
yeah, I was thinking if Tampa Bay went to the Super Bowl and won this year, I was kind of contemplating whether or not he would just go out on top. You know, I
I think
think
it's funny that you said he's already on top. Like,
Yeah.
regardless of what.
you know
Well,
what
he
I
means
mean.
yeah.
You know what
But
I
no,
mean.
I don't think that I think if he won, it would almost guarantee he would come back. He's like, I can still do it. Why would I stop? I think it's gonna be a situation where it's like, all right, yeah, I don't have it anymore. Like, it's time. Whereas, he's such a competitor. If he keeps winning, it's like, all right, I got it. We can still do this. I'm gonna keep doing it until I can't, kind of thing. It's kind of how I see it.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it's
that game in general, man. Matt Stafford. I mean, the boy did it.
he
I
showed
mean,
up. What did I
he
say?
did.
What
He
did I
did
say?
show up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, my philosophy rang true still for all three of these games that we've discussed so far. Quarterback play, right? Burrow over Tannehill. Rodgers was not Rodgers. Matthew Stafford excelled in that game, led that team to a victory. An absolute dime to Cooper Cup. Get that thing really close
Yeah.
for Matt Gay to knock that thing
What a
through. Yeah,
great ball.
I mean,
I mean, just right here.
but let's be honest. The Rams did everything that they could to lose that game at the end. They did everything they could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What, four turnovers,
Yeah,
right?
four lost fumbles, and they still
Yeah.
won somehow.
And Cam Akers he had two of those, right?
Yep. One at the goal line.
You had him, and then you had a botched snap. Yeah. So I think that was my perspective on it too, Corey. Was that LA gave Tampa Bay every opportunity
Sure.
to take over that game, especially in the fourth quarter, and they
Yeah.
almost did it. They should have, realistically, you take two of those turnovers away, that should have been a 10-point game, right? But now all of a sudden, LA had to make this incredible comeback, and shame on Tampa for letting Cooper Cup get that open twice, because that dude absolutely tore up Tampa's secondary. And
That
it wasn't
last
even
one,
remotely
though,
close.
it's not like he was standing out in the middle of the field. That last one, he just burned them. He
It
just
was a
Oh,
good
yeah.
catch. Yeah, no. I'm just saying, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm not. I mean, they manned him up the whole game, and he crushed
don't
him the
get
whole
that.
game.
I don't get that.
Sean Murphy Bunting did not cover Cooper Cup whatsoever, and they kept lining him up like they kept lining him up together. I'm like, what are you doing? Get somebody else on. Just
Right.
give Bunting a break. That dude got crushed.
Reminded me of
So,
Ryan Gosling
I don't
from
know.
Remember the
I think
Titans.
the defense
Just a complete liability out there.
complete liability. Yeah, I think from that perspective, Tampa Bay
Ghost!
just didn't play Cooper Cup well. He was the benefactor in that game for LA. I mean, he had what, 160 something yards receiving, 150 yards receiving.
Yeah.
You'd like to stole something, mister.
It's I was frustrated. I was frustrated with Tampa Bay at the end of that game, because you don't keep leaving that guy open
Yeah.
all year. I'm not taking anything away from Cooper Cup, because that guy somehow is able to get a step and a half on everybody, no matter who's covering him. It's incredible the things that he can do in small spaces.
One of the best receivers in the NFL.
But
Yeah. No question there.
yeah, Yeah, he solidified that. I don't know. It just didn't seem like Tampa ever changed their plan with him. And I would much rather give Van Jefferson or OBJ the opportunity to beat me than the guy that's leading the leading the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Just didn't make any sense.
The first full season that we've had with Cooper Kupp 100% healthy, and he's Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
shout out to him for that because that's one of the reasons I didn't draft him this year is because typically very unreliable. A lot of concussion protocols for Cooper Cup over the last 3 years or so. So yeah, good, great for him. Great for Matt Stafford to get that connection. That's actually one of the things that they talked about initially going into this season was the immediate connection that those two had. It was in the Stafford article, the long piece that ESPN produced prior to the season starting. Was that in OTAs and in training camp they were like this, a lot of the time, and they were looking for that to be a pretty productive matchup. Obviously, it has turned out to be they're currently playing in the NFC Championship game this week, so very exciting.
yeah, absolutely. It was nice to see Stafford, get that win and move to the next round. And after all the struggles he had for well over a decade in Detroit, the dude's always had the talent. He just needed a team and a coach that could help get him to the next
Bullshit.
level. All right, elaborate.
I think that Matthew Stafford was equally to blame for the problems in Detroit. I don't think that
Ooh,
he was I don't think he was burdened in any way. Like, let's be honest, Matthew Stafford gave a lot of games away in pivotal moments in Detroit. There were a lot of turnovers, uh, equally such against the Saints as it was against the Seahawks in the playoffs, against the Cowboys. They had an opportunity to where they just needed to win one of the last three games, and they would win the division, and they would host. They didn't win a single one of them, and I think it's it's really hard for me to say that. So here's what I look at. All right, let's look at any great quarterback. Do they make teams better or are they pulled down by their team? Has Tom Brady ever been burdened by a team? No, he makes shitty wide receivers better. Is Peyton Manning burdened by a team? Aaron Rodgers? Any of these guys that are in the upper echelon of the NFL right now? Fuck, you could even throw Joe Burrow's name in there right now. He's playing behind statistically the worst offensive line in football. He has a game on Sunday. I think the notion that Matthew Stafford is like an elite quarterback and that's just been burdened for so long by Detroit, it's just not true. He is on the most expensive roster in football. He has potential Hall of Famers, no, two Hall of Famers on the defensive line in Von Miller and Aaron Donald. He has probably the best corner in football in Jalen Ramsey. He has probably he has the offensive player of the year at wide receiver, Bobby Trees for a beginning part of the season. They just got Odell Beckham Jr., who came in and just lit it up for him. Offensive line, Andrew Whitworth, Hall of Famer at a left tackle. So while, yes, the surrounding cast is better and you're seeing the results, and Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback, I don't want to say that. But Matthew Stafford has his flaws. Like, Matthew Stafford is not perfect. He throws a lot of interceptions, which he did throughout the end of the regular season, through like two pick sixes against Baltimore. I think it was Baltimore. They didn't even make the playoffs. So I don't want to. I'm not going to sit here and let the narrative, because it constantly gets portrayed every time you watch the fucking Rams. The ESPN guys are like, well, he was stuck in Detroit. Like, they were competing for division championships. They were competing in the playoffs three times, and they didn't get it done. Yeah, the team has something to do with that, but Matthew Stafford's a part of that team. You know what I mean? He is the quarterback. If anything, he has the most influence on their success or failure.
sure.
So that was my little snidey comment at that, and I'm standing up for the new hometown.
Yeah,
Detroit.
wifey coming in and saying people love to hate on Detroit.
It's
Um,
true. It's very true. And honestly, a lot of it is earned. right? The Fords are a miserable organization in terms of management. They are. They're terrible. They the perception, at least from the city of Detroit, about the Ford family is that they view owning the Lions as their country club. It's their Sunday activity. We're going to get dressed up and go down to Ford Field after church and have a cup of cocktails and watch our product out on the field. And look, Granddaddy's name is on the building as well. And that's kind of the perception that people have of the Ford's ownership. They don't really care if they win. They only care about making money. And I really, 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 really hope that they can shed that narrative with a competent front office, similar to what the Bengals are trying to do right now.
Yeah, it's honestly shocking personally that that's the viewpoint and the mindset that they've conveyed. I'm sure they've heard it as ownership multiple times.
So
Because
Calvin,
go ahead.
sorry, just real quick on that. Calvin Johnson was inducted in the Ring of Honor. They retired his jersey this year, and Sheila Ford, the acting owner of the Lions, steps onto the field and says, "Hey, Lions fans!" And 15 people, or however many were in Ford Field at that time, just boo the entire time during Calvin Johnson's jersey or Ring of Honor ceremony. They are fucking dogging her. She's like, okay, I wanna die," and they just waving them off. And then when they bring out Calvin, obviously everybody erupts like Vesuvius. But
Right.
yeah, they've earned it. They've earned the reputation. That's for sure.
Yeah, kind of where I was going with that was, they own a business where their product is everything, and that's that's how they make money, and they make a ton of money doing it, and it just is shocking that that doesn't translate to the football and their product that they have on the field. So, um,
You guys know any other owners like that? Maybe in a different
The cat,
sport, like baseball or something?
yeah, I don't know, maybe couple maybe about 100 miles south of
the
me.
cat, the
Um,
caveat to all of that is that the Ford product itself has completely gone to dog shit over the
yes,
last 2 years.
it certainly
There have
has.
been hundreds of thousands of recalls on F-150s for transmission issues, transfer case issues, all sorts of. There's a myriad of things.
Let me point this out real quick. Tamarcus jumping in the chat. Tamarcus, what's up, buddy? Um, but quick comment on Ford. They just won Car of the Year last year with the Mach-E, and they won Truck of the Year again with the F-150. Also, if you look at share price on Ford, we're getting away from football, but whatever. If you look at share price on Ford, the growth that they have seen over the last 12 to 18 months is not even close to anybody else out of the big three. Obviously, GM, and then Stellantis is what Chrysler is now called. So Ford, in terms of growth and future and EV and all of that stuff, they will probably. My prediction is that they will be the leader in that product in the next 10 years.
Crazy.
Yeah. All
It-
right. Well, our little rant from going to Detroit and talking about cars has gotten a little off topic. So,
well,
um,
Tamarcus jumped in the chat. I'm like, all right, let's get some car talk going a little bit
right.
more. Let's reel him in and then get with the football.
Yeah, Brian said he had Megatron, no excuses. Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. Let's move on to the last game of the weekend. Bills Chiefs, probably the best game of the weekend from an unbiased perspective, I
Of
think.
all time, I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
a top three game for me, at least in my lifetime. And I think in our lifetime, it's a top three game.
I mean, I think there was 24 points scored in the last 2 minutes of that game. I think it
Stupid.
was something crazy like that.
3 lead changes and a tie.
Yeah.
The most ever in the last 2 minutes of a game, 2 minutes, 15 seconds, whatever it was. Yeah.
Unbelievable. The funniest meme that came out of all of this, which I'm sure you guys saw, was don't ever let your girlfriend or your wife tell you 13 seconds ain't long enough.
That's right.
Because did you guys see what Andy Reid told Pat Mahomes before he walked out on the field for 13 seconds?
Pretty badass.
He said, "When it's grim, be the Grim Reaper." That's what he told Pat Mahomes as Pat Mahomes was getting ready to walk out of the field with 13 seconds left. Could you think of a more badass line than that?
I got kind of hyped up just sitting here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get
in my
getting
head
chills
right
saying
now,
it.
yeah, in my head is just like dun, dun, like Back in Black is playing right now. As I hear that, I'm just like, all right, Big Red, we're going to war. Let's go. Like
Yeah,
Andy Reid can talk to me before I run out on a
yeah,
battlefield
yeah.
at any time.
I went at a very deep search with all the nuances that the end of this game had to offer. Um, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but Travis Kelsey basically called the like that entire last drive, which was unbelievable. So there's a mic'd up that was put on Twitter, and it was Travis Kelsey.
So
He
cool.
was mic'd up for the game, and Travis Kelsey told Tyreek, he was like, "Hey, if they give you man, just burn him, burn him up the seam." What did they do on the first play? Tyreek burned him up the seam, and then on the next on the next play, before they went in the huddle, Kelsey told Mahomes, he was like, "Hey, if they're playing pretty far back, if they play back again, I'm basically just gonna split the two guys that are guarding me."
He said
And
that
then
seam's going to be open.
and, right. And
Yeah.
then you hear Mahomes like pre-snap going, "Do it, Kels, do it, Kels, do it, Kels," and then hike. And then Kelsey takes off, runs a little slant, post route, up the seam, and then bam.
He ran a seam route. Yeah.
And then obviously they're set up for that field goal, and then we know the rest is history. But
So
like,
cool.
what a heads up play from a tight end to have that kind of vision and understanding of the game. Like he is 100% the best tight end in the league, and he could potentially at the end of his career be the best tight end to ever play football.
I'm there too, Bobby. Like I know Todd's like, oh,
Man,
big claim, but I think like if you had to pick right now in their prime, Tony Gonzalez or Travis Kelsey, who you taking?
Kelsey.
Yeah, I'm taking Travis Kelsey 100%. He's more athletic. It's just a fact. The game has changed. It has changed. Tony
but
Gonzalez
it's
would. It's different. It's
I
different.
don't. It's a
It's
different
different.
game, but I think I can't. I don't know if you could say Travis Kelsey. If I don't know if you could say that there's a variance in athleticism because at that point in time when Tony Gonzalez was playing football, there was nobody on the field that was built like him, right? We've
Sure.
talked about this in the last 2 or 3 episodes about the athlete has changed the position to be on the defensive side of the ball, and when Tony Gonzalez was playing, your best athletes were your running backs and your wide receivers, right?
Well,
And
You know who actually is a better comp than Tony Gonzalez in that regard? Who actually really changed the position? I want to see if you can guess this guy. Probably one of the longest tenured tight ends of all time. Resided in San Diego for about 2 decades.
Antonio
Antonio
Gates.
Gates, because he's a basketball
Exactly.
player.
He
He
changed the
played.
position.
Yeah, he played like a power forward, right?
Well,
So
let me counter your argument with this, Todd. Yes, Tony Gonzalez was built like nobody was built at that time, but now everybody's built like that. So would you say that Travis Kelsey, what he's accomplishing is more impressive because everybody is
Fair.
playing at a higher level and is built the way that he's built on both sides of the ball?
That's a good point.
sure. I look. It's just like saying that Bill Russell could beat LeBron James in a game of one-on-one, right? Where you're comparing
Balls.
different you're
No,
comparing different
that's not even
generations
close.
of of the sport. What do you mean it's not even close? You're comparing two different generations of a game. You just said
But you're
the game
comparing
is
two
different
different
now than when Tony
positions and
Gonzalez
two
played.
different styles of players. I would say that Travis Kelsey and
They're the
Tony
same
Gonzalez
size.
had a similar
Bill
style
Russell
of
and
play.
LeBron James are the only variance is that Bill Russell was 2 inches taller and 30 pounds lighter. That's it.
I would say LeBron James probably has about 30% more muscle mass.
Okay. I'm not going to get into the argument. This is ridiculous.
No. I mean, Bill. I don't know if LeBron has a tough time scoring against Bill Russell. I'll tell you that.
No, my point. I'm not comparing player to player. I'm comparing two players that are great at their time, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
That's my comparison. Because if we're
Sure.
talking about Travis Kelsey, he's a transcendent of the position of the 21st century, in theory, right? Because from 2010 to now, he's the one of a top 10 player in football based on what he's done for the position in the sport. And I would say when Tony Gonzalez played from the late 90s to the late 2000s, he changed the position of tight end and opened up the door for somebody like Antonio
Totally.
Gates, right?
Totally.
And that's where my
Yeah.
argument is that Tony Gonzalez was doing the things Travis Kelsey is doing right now. He was doing that before anybody else was. So I think it's the pioneer versus the guy that changes the game, right? That's Tony Gonzalez is the pioneer of the athletic tight end. Travis Kelsey is the transcender of the tight end position.
Yeah, and I think I understand that like Tony Gonzalez changed that role initially. I just think Kelsey's better in general. Like he's just a better athlete, and he's just faster, and I don't know if he's stronger. I don't know if that's necessarily a fair comp, but I think he's a better receiver. Right, that position has changed more into a receiving type role. While
Yeah, I think
albeit
Kyle Pitts is a better receiving tight end than Tony Gonzalez was too, but that wasn't there at
that's
that point
yeah
in time.
TBD in my
Yeah,
opinion TBD. Kyle Pitts, I mean, on paper, sure, yeah, he should be, but we saw this year wasn't it as explosive as we had hoped for Kyle Pitts. I
Right.
think you'll see more out of him in the coming years. Tight ends, I don't know what it is. It's like a 2 to 3 year gap before they're really popping off. You see it with almost every tight end. George Kittle, 3 years. His third season was his blow up year. That was really what it was. Now George Kittle wasn't taken fourth overall, but nonetheless, he was taken in the
Nonetheless,
fourth round.
he's a freak of nature. But no, so let's talk about the quarterback play. Bills Chiefs, Josh Allen. What a game.
Yeah,
What we need to get into the overtime rules and
let's
what
do
you
it.
guys think of that.
Yeah,
But Josh Allen, I mean, oh my God, that dude's the future, man. That kid is unbelievable.
I think
I mean,
yeah.
everybody just needs to get on the train that Corey and I have been uh, the locomotive captain of, that is Josh Allen for the entire season. I mean, I think we've boasted him pretty heavily on this podcast and talking about the things that he can do that not a lot of quarterbacks can do. And I think that he's a prime example of when you're as mobile, when you're that mobile at that size, you change the whole trajectory of a game. I don't know
Yep.
if there's there it just he looks completely different than any other quarterback that's on the field right now.
It's
And
like
it's
if Deshaun Watson morphed with Big Ben. It's disgusting.
yeah, right. I mean, can you imagine as in the open field being a safety, seeing a 6'6", 245-pound quarterback that runs like a running back coming straight at you?
Business
No.
decision. Nope.
And also a guy that can throw the ball,
going
a
low.
guy that can throw the ball to his left, throw it to his right, and throw a 60-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle, right?
Well,
Because
Pat
that's what he
Mahomes.
does.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
and I just think that it's I don't know. It was incredible to watch what he did in the playoffs. It sucks that I think the Bills they got their chance taken away to go to the AFC Championship this year because of the rule that it is. But this isn't the
Going to.
last time.
I want to hear your take on that.
Okay. Well, my to finish my thought, this isn't the last time we're going to see Josh Allen in the playoffs. So this is just the jump off point for him.
Absolutely.
Oh, it isn't the last time. I thought you
Yeah,
said
it
this
is
is
not.
the last time.
No,
Okay.
it is not. It is not. This is not the last
No.
time that the Buffalo Bills, led by Josh Allen, will be
That man
at
will
this
have
point. And I
multiple
think
Super
we're
Bowl rings.
again, yeah. I stand firm that there is still a passing of the torch to Josh Allen in the very near future. Like this game doesn't
Next
deter
year.
me from that
Next
opinion.
year.
But
Next year is
yeah,
his time. 100%.
so the rule. Let's talk about the overtime rule, and let's talk. I want to. Who wants? Do you guys want me to start? Because I don't
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. You
Look,
said
I think
you said you didn't like it.
Yeah, look, I think that I don't know. It just if I think of baseball the same way I think in this, right? If you are in extra innings and take away the new runner on second roll, that's hot dog water. Doesn't matter. If you are playing in the 10th, if you're playing extra innings and it is game 7 of the ALCS and you are the home team and you don't get your opportunity to come up to bat in the bottom of the 10th and you give up a couple flukies and somebody scores in the top of the 10th, now you're down 7-6, game's over. That's bullshit. People would destroy Major League Baseball if that was the rule. There would be fires all over the world if that happened.
Well, the comparison that I saw is similar. It was basically same situation. If the away team hits a home run, that'd be like saying the game's over, and not letting the home team come up to bat. Um, I, I'm up in the air, man. I think. I mean, if that game would have went on, there would probably been way more injuries with fatigue. But I don't know, man. I would have loved to have seen it play out, but at the end of the day, the Bills had the number one defense in the league, and they still couldn't stop them. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
I
you. So the whole baseball argument is just flawed. It's flawed because in baseball, when you're on defense, can you score runs? No, you can't score runs on defense in baseball. The pitcher can't shove the ball up his ass and cough it out his mouth and put a run on the board. You can't do that. But in football, you can get a pick six. You can get a scoop and score. Hell, you could get a defensive stop. Or better yet, you could not allow a fucking field goal at 13 seconds. That's that's football, man. I don't have a problem with the current overtime rule at all. The notion that, well, Josh Allen should have been able to put the ball back in his hand. No, fuck that. Why? Why? There's two sides of the. This isn't just an offensive game. There's defense as well. But I did hear one proposal that I thought was cool for changing the overtime rule. If you're going to change the overtime rule, I thought this was really cool. It was actually proposed by the Baltimore Ravens like 3 or 4 years ago, and that rule was an analogy. So there's one piece of cake left, and you have two kids. What's the rule? Well, one kid cuts the cake, they divide it, the other one gets to decide which piece of the cake they take, right? So that each is incentivized to make it an even split, right? Home team selects where the ball is on the field. Away team selects defense or offense. I think would be one of the most fun overtime rules
I hate
ever.
that. I hate that.
It'd be so fun. It would be
No,
so fun. I want the
that'd be
ball on the
terrible.
3 yard line. All right, I want defense. That would be so much fun. Oh, it'd be beautiful.
No,
But I mean,
I hate that.
well, at the end of the day, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Stop them.
Yeah, I mean, I
Stop them.
think, yeah, I mean, the the only like happy medium that I see is each team gets the chance to possess the ball once, and then after
Why?
after that one, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
If each team gets to possess the ball once, and then it's sudden death. So if Kansas City comes down and scores a touchdown, Buffalo comes down and scores a touchdown, sudden death.
So I don't understand why they deserve that right. Why do you deserve it?
I'm
Deserve
just
to
I'm just
possess
trying to
the
think of a solution that would please
right.
the NFL and the players and the fans, and it's tough. There's a lot of people that are on your side that agree.
No, yeah.
That
Nobody in
the
Kansas
current
City
current
gives a
rules
shit
are
about
fine.
yeah.
There's a lot
There's
of
zero.
teams.
There's zero Chiefs fans that care about the overtime rule.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have benefited and been on the receiving end of an L, because of the rule. It's gone both ways. So, I think the adjustment they made, which was, it's no longer just a field goal wins it.
Yes.
A touchdown wins it, a field goal the other team gets a chance to possess. I think that's about as happy of a medium that you can find, and I don't see them changing the rule.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're the player safety comment that you made. I think there is something to that. Like I think they want to get this game over with as fast as possible. That's why the rule is what it is, and that's why it was what it was when it first came out, right? Where the field goal ends it, and then they're like, that's kind of fucked up. You only need to get like 40 yards, and then
Kick
game
field goal,
over, right? But I mean, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, right? I score with 13 seconds left. I get my 2 point conversion. I'm kicking the ball off. I know I don't want to go to a coin toss. I know that before I kick the ball off. I don't want to go to a coin toss. We just watched both of these teams score a record amount of points within the last 2 minutes of the game. I know I don't want to go to a coin toss. I'm going to prevent that at all costs. At all costs. There are so many things the Bills could have done to wipe that out. They could have squib kicked, which, by the way, I heard they called a squib kick, and every single person on the special teams unit knew it was going to be a squib kick, except the kicker. The kicker was the only one that didn't understand that he needed to squib it, or at least loft it, right?
Not kick it out of the back of the end zone.
Anything but that, right? Anything but that.
Keep it in play, make the clock run.
Exactly.
If that happens, that game doesn't. The Bills win and they're on to the NFC Championship or AFC Championship. Excuse me.
100%. And I'm paying twice as much as I did to go to Kansas City, 100%. And the other thing is, why aren't you jamming these guys at the line? Why aren't you jamming? Why are you rushing 4 guys, 5 guys in some instances if you're the Bills? Why are you doing that? You know he has to get the ball out quickly. He's not going to just sit back there.
Yeah,
You're not
just
going to
just
get.
just sit a linebacker in the middle of the field protecting the seams, and
You're not going to get to him. Fuck, drop 11 players. You're not going to get to him. He's going to throw the ball out before you can get there. It's statistically impossible for you to sack Patrick Mahomes in that situation unless he screws up massively. Which,
right.
right, roll the dice. Patrick Mahomes isn't going to do that very often. I think the Bills, they lost that game. They lost that game by allowing it to go to overtime in the first place.
Yeah, Brian coming in with a comment. He could have called heads.
It's true. Could have caught heads. Tails always fails, I guess, is now the new saying. I don't know.
The old becomes the new. Yeah, best game of the week by far, in my opinion.
So much fun.
And now on to the most favorite game for you guys. Bengals Titans. What an incredible football game. Jamar Chase, just the dude's a freak. Him and Joe Burrow, just unbelievable talents on the offensive side of the ball. That's a pair that's going to wreck the league for years and years and years to come. Todd, I'll give you the floor, man. What are your big takeaways from the game?
Well, the Bengals defense played extremely well. Look, I think that we talked pretty heavily on keeping Derrick Henry at bay, and he really did. He wasn't a factor for them at any point in time during. Deonta Foreman actually had more yards rushing than Derrick Henry did in that game, and that was all off of basically 135-yard run that he broke out. But but defensively, Cincinnati played really, really well. I mean, I think we've covered pretty much everything that we could cover on it. Evan McPherson is a complete game changer in that game for them. Offensively,
No.
and you're just happy that Cincinnati's defense showed up and played well. That's really all it comes down to. That was a chess match. That's what that game was for me. It was like watching a chess match, because if you're Cincinnati, you gave a little, you gave Tennessee a little bit, and that ball that AJ Brown caught as one of the best catches that I've ever seen. That was incredible. And there are so many people that said they shouldn't have had that scenario based on the catch, that the ball hit the ground, whatever. Throw all that aside. In that moment, I'm telling you that play shouldn't have happened, because it was. I just felt like that was not a catch. But
talking about the interception.
No, I'm talking about that play where AJ Brown scored was the one where the ball hit the ground, right? That they said.
No, the interception that led to
the
that
catch.
was the reason. Yeah, so the interception on defense, where the ball hit the ground, was what ultimately led to that AJ Brown, the incredible catch by AJ Brown, which was one of the best catches we've seen this year.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I was sitting there watching the game, and I see that him catch that ball, and then they show the replay. I'm just like, yeah, that's a good catch. Hats off to him. Like,
right.
What are you gonna?
Can't be mad.
It's just beautiful. It's good football. I mean,
yeah. No, I mean we can definitely get into the interception though. I do want to talk about that. Gene Steratore came in and said, "Yeah, this isn't a catch." Right off the rip, immediately.
Yeah.
No hesitation. And then it was somehow overturned. I don't know.
No, it was upheld.
Or upheld, excuse me.
Yeah.
Should have been overturned. He secured the ball by using the ground, which clearly states in the rule book that is not a catch.
The rule says that you cannot use the ground to create a catch. That's like one of the things. There's an asterisk, or there's subsections of basically what qualifies as a catch, and this is under the subsection of this causes it to be an incomplete pass or a dropped ball or whatever you have it. So it's just a bad call, right? I think it's to the thing that we've talked about through the wild card round and then to the divisional round. There's been a lot of officiating that makes you kind of scratch your head and wonder what's going on. This is a prime example of where not only did they get it wrong in the field, they got it wrong in the booth, and they got it wrong in New York. So, it's just a bad situation, and it sucked in the moment. I'm sure Corey felt the same way I did. I was absolutely losing my mind as this was going on, trying to make sense of a rule of football being broken, essentially, and it just sucked. And I hope that the NFL takes a look at what they're doing for officiating for the foreseeable future to avoid situations like this happening, where a guy that is a rules analyst says on national television, "Hey, that's not an interception." Oh, just kidding, it is. And then he's just kind of fumbling over his words when they jump right back to him. And he's like, "Well, maybe they saw something different in the booth," and then they just moved on.
One of the most respected officials of all time is Steratore.
Yeah, he was great.
I don't
remember a
understand
bad game he called, to be honest.
I'm sure he had a few, but nonetheless, from the booth he makes a lot of the calls accurately, I think so. But either way, ended up on top, and I got to tell you, man, I was downtown. I watched the game at the Hofbräu House with my family, celebrating my sister's birthday, and as McPherson lined up for the field goal, I had one of my daughters in my arms, and my sister had my other daughter up on her shoulders, and everyone's on bated breath, and we watched the leg sweep and goes up, coffin nails, and everybody is losing their mind, and immediately went downtown to the banks and hung out at the stretch, then went up to Rosedale and OTR, and everywhere throughout Newport, throughout downtown, throughout over the Rhine. As you're walking around, you're just hearing hooday, and people are hyped up and yelling and having fun, and it was a pretty special moment for the city to continue this run that they're on. So looking forward to championship week. We got a couple of really, really fun games on the docket.
Yeah. Do we want to make picks now, or do we want to save that for?
So I think we should make some picks now. Should we go ahead and tell everybody what we got going on Sunday? Should we tell them?
Go for it.
So Sunday is championship week, and the reason why I think we should make picks now is because we'll have a field reporter at the AFC Championship game. My psychotic self has decided that I'm going to make the journey to Kansas City in Arrowhead. I'll be there on Sunday. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do some live broadcasts on Sunday from the Bengals gym tailgate. I hope to try and hopefully interview some people. We'll see how the sound quality comes through on my phone at what is sure to be a raucous party there right outside Arrowhead. Actually, we're going to be right outside the Royals Stadium, which is just east of Arrowhead. So we're going to be right out there hanging around. Is it Kauffman Field? Is that what it's called? I can't remember where the Royals play. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be out there, and these guys are going to try and zoom me in on Sunday for a little field reporting. So that should be a blast, and we hope you guys are able to tune in before the game.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and go to the 49ers and Rams game for the first pick. We'll save the Bengals Chiefs for the next one. 49ers Rams. Todd, who you got?
So, if we're going by the standards that Corey has laid out before us in weeks past, usually don't beat a team 3 times in a year, right? That's just there's just proof in the pudding to that. We've talked about that San Francisco is one of the hottest teams in football. I would argue that they are the hottest team of the remaining 4 teams left. But I'm going pure quarterback play. So that's where my head is going in this game. So you got Matt Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo. In order for San Francisco to beat Los Angeles' defense, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to play the best game that he's played all year. And for Matt Stafford to beat San Francisco's defense, he has to play as good as he played against Tampa Bay last week. And I think Matt Stafford can play as good as he played last week against Tampa Bay. With that being said, I think we see the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm taking Aaron Donald in that defense, man. That defense was just absolutely unbelievable last week. We saw Tom Brady get pressured more last week than I think he did all of the entire regular season. Obviously, that's a slight exaggeration, but they were all over him, and I think that's what ultimately led to the success that they had in the first half. My only fear for the Rams is if they get a big lead, taking their foot off the pedal. Um, that seems to be their MO. If they get up early, they just try to coast and be conservative and similar to the Bengals in that respect, where they get a big lead early and they're just trying to manage the game and not lose it, as opposed to just going out there and kicking ass. No, I think I don't think there's anybody on that San Francisco defense that can guard Cooper Kupp. And with Aaron Donald, I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to sit here and look at the roster that the Rams have assembled over the last couple of years, and particularly what they've done this year with the big splashes, Von Miller, Matt Stafford, OBJ, even Sony Michel is having a really good postseason, and tell you that they are matched up, um, or outmatched rather, by the San Francisco. I would love for an Exercise Your Demons tour in Super Bowl 56 for the Bengals to take on the Niners, but I'm gonna have to go with you guys and follow suit and take the Rams. I just think they got too much firepower going on right
Yeah. No, I mean either way, I think it's going to be a good game. I mean we got two great championship games, probably some of the best championship games matchups we've had in the last couple of years. So
now. Interesting thing, the Rams, if they win in back-to-back home games, essentially.
Yeah,
They're in SoFi Stadium now this week for this NFC Championship game. The Super
right.
Bowl is at SoFi Stadium, which after never having a team host its own Super Bowl, we could potentially have it 2 years in a row.
It's
Crazy.
crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean Tampa Bay hosted their own last year, and obviously they were the victors of that spoil, and
Hmm.
that would be absolutely unbelievable if it happened 2 years in a row. Um, it'd be great for LA and the Rams. I mean, home field advantage in the Super Bowl. Jesus.
Is it though? I feel like they have a. I feel like they divide it in terms of tickets, don't they? I feel like there is some kind of division, and I don't
Yes.
know. I just feel like I also feel like there would be more. There are more fans of all three of the other teams than the Rams. Does that make sense? Like I feel like the Niners have a deeper following. I feel like the Bengals have a deeper following. The
Bangers.
Chiefs have the bangers, baby. We're gonna bang them up. We're gonna bang them
Hell
up.
yeah, brother.
And I feel like they have a deeper. I feel like all three of the other playoff teams left in this championship week have a deeper rooted following than do the Rams, who
Yep.
have moved 3 times in the last 5 decades.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very accurate. I think the Rams have one of the weaker fan bases, at least some of the one of the more inconsistent fan bases, really in football, because of how many times that they've moved around and they've had to shift their fan base. I mean, you've moved them into a different time zone 3 times in the last 40 years, right?
Right.
And you can't get any consistent fan base, especially when you've already kind of established a fan base in LA. So
Mhm.
the Bay Area they love the Niners. I mean, and we saw Kansas
Yeah.
City's home crowd against Buffalo. The Chiefs fans are some of the most ridiculous fans, right up there with Eagles fans. So it is going to be really interesting for you, Corey. I'm most excited to hear your perspective on being an Arrowhead and for this game and what you dealt with as a Bengals fan, because I have an idea of what it looks like, and I want to hear reality.
I'm excited more than I am nervous about experiencing that. I am really looking forward to just being in Arrowhead. Um, I have a lot of respect for the Chiefs as an organization. I have a lot of respect for that fan base and the turnout that they're able to generate for that team every week, and particularly in the playoffs. And It's going to be a lot of fun to just be in that environment for that game because I know it's going to be rowdy and it's going to just be it's a sight to behold, really. Arrowhead for the AFC Championship game. I wouldn't want it any other way other than maybe Paul Brown, obviously, but I think it's going to just be a phenomenal, a picturesque moment. I'm getting really really excited just thinking about getting on that plane and heading on out to KC.
Oh yeah. Well, with that being said, I take it both of you are going with the Bengals this weekend.
I want to hear some analysis. Bobby, I want your perspective on this game from an outsider.
Yeah.
So we can end it on a positive note.
No, I'm not going to have positive feedback. Man, see how it is. No, I mean, I think this is going to be a great game. You know, we saw the Bengals play the Chiefs very, very well a couple weeks ago. Um, obviously, it was a division clinching game for the Bengals. There was a lot more on the line for them than there was Kansas City at that point in time. That being said, the Chiefs in that game didn't look like they were, not trying. You know what I mean? They were trying to win that football game. And
well, remember, the Chiefs still had the number one overall seed on the line. The reason they didn't get it is partially because they lost that game. Well, mostly because they lost that game.
yeah,
That's right.
so yeah, not as much at risk, but the number one seed is still something to be had, especially in this playoffs. That's postered a lot of talented teams. Um, that being said, God, this is a tough call for me. On one hand, the Bengals have proven their ability to compete with the Chiefs and beat the Chiefs. And then on the other end of that spectrum, you have Pat Mahomes that is seeking revenge, and he's going to want to make a statement after getting beat by Cincinnati, earlier, and like we had alluded to earlier, said I'll see you in the playoffs. Yeah, that's a scary thing for a probably the best quarterback in the league to say to your team. So he's going to come into this game super prepared, and Joe Burrow, he's not gonna back down from that challenge. So um, flip a coin for me. The I am only because they're home.
Fair.
If
I
they
mean,
if they were in Cincinnati, I'd be taking the Bengals. But I think this is a tough game for the Bengals to win on the road. They're definitely going to compete. I think it's going to be a one-score game. That's going to come down to who has the ball last. I think the Chiefs are. I think the Chiefs are there. I think the Bengals still have a couple years. But my hot take for the Bengals, you will see the Bengals in the Super Bowl within 3 years, and they will have a ring. Um,
oh God, I'm such a you're so sweet.
They, I like
Make me
I got,
you.
I got,
So
I got butterflies in my stomach when he said that. I didn't know what to feel.
no,
I didn't
like
know how
no,
to feel
like
about
like
that.
anybody who watches football and anybody who's actually followed the Bengals knows that the Bengals have the talent to be there because they're there right now. I just don't think they're ready for that moment. Personally, I think they still have a little bit of growth to do in that regard. Not saying that they haven't stepped up. I mean, they've got Evan McPherson, who's obviously his dick is bigger than his shoe size, and
God, I love we're talking about a kicker and being a
right,
benefactor in a
like
football game. It's
I mean, it's
unreal.
so clutch though. Like you got to think New England had Vinatieri for all those years. Like they wouldn't have the rings that they have if he wouldn't have hit some of
Sure.
the kicks that he hit. You have to have a kicker that will walk out there and have ice in his veins, when it counts. And the Bengals have that. They have a great quarterback. They've got a great arsenal of receivers. Their defense is good. I just think the Chiefs are too strong. I think the Bengals have a really tough time this weekend matching up with Kelsey and Tyreek Hill.
He had
And
34 yards against us last time.
yeah, like I said, I could be wrong in my analysis, but
No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
I think I don't. It's a tough pick. You can flip a coin, but I'm taking the Chiefs because they're at home. That is my only reason I'm taking the Chiefs.
Do the Bengals cover?
Oh yeah, what's the spread?
-7.
Yeah, they cover. 100%.
Todd Father.
So Bobby talked mostly about Kansas City's offense and being their benefactor into winning this game.
There he is. Simpatico. Let's go. I
So
already know where you're going. Just put my feet up.
we're talking about the seventh ranked team seventh ranked team defense in football playing Cincinnati on Sunday, right? And I think that the front six or seven, give or take, for Kansas City is the benefactor to them being able to win this game or not. When I look at so the big thing I saw from that game was Kansas City's ability to get Josh Allen out of the pocket and to scramble, right? He was scrambling a lot. They run a lot of plays designed for Josh Allen to roll out to his left and run to his left. But if you notice, when Josh Allen rolls out to his right, that is an unintentional. That's his intent is not to throw the ball rolling to his right. He likes to be a pocket passer, and he likes to shift his body to the left to face basically, let's call 75% of the field, right? That's where Josh Allen gets really good, is when he gets his body to the 75% of the field, or 110% of the field. Sorry, I'm doing an obtuse angle here. That's where I'm at.
Well, geometry.
Yeah. So, and Kansas City was in the backfield a lot in that game, and they were pressuring Josh Allen a lot, and they did not run the ball well. Josh Allen was their leading rusher in that game. And I think the thing you have to remember for Kansas City is that this defense is what got them out of the slump that they were in kind of in the beginning of the year. Their defense picked it up, and then they started winning football games, right? Because they were keeping Pat Mahomes basically off the field for long periods of time and forcing him to come from behind. So I think the big thing that Cincinnati is going to have to do is, say they get the ball first, they have to score on the first drive. They have to put points on the board in the first drive. It doesn't have to be a touchdown, but it's got to be at least 3. And that sets the pace for the rest of the game for me. Again, it's a chess match for Cincinnati's secondary, because we talked about Travis Kelce being one of the best athletes in the NFL, and that's true. And one of the fastest players in the NFL, and Tyreek Hill, is also going to be on the field. They handled both of them very well when they played them in the regular season. And strategy from Cincinnati going into this game, because I don't think the way that they played them when they played them in the regular season was broken. I don't think the Bengals defense played bad. So you're going to see a very similar defensive scheme, but you're going to see Joe Burrow. He's going to have to be poised in the pocket, and he's going to have to make quick, thoughtful decisions with the ball, because I think, and I don't know what you thought, Corey, from watching the game Saturday, was that at the beginning of the game that Joe was not making very good, thoughtful decisions with the ball. He's holding on the ball a really, really long time and trying to create that big play that we've talked about. That's kind of his crutch, is that he wants to make the big play. He wants to get primetime mode. And with Kansas City's defense, you just don't have that opportunity is going to be less than what it is against Tennessee's. There's not as many big.
Go ahead. Sorry, finish that. No, finish that.
I think it's going to come down to, you just have to let the offense run. It has to get fluid, and then that big play comes up over time, because you have to set up that the foundation of your offense is going to be able to get you 4 to 9 yards out to set up that big one-on-one play for Ja'Marr Chase. And now I could be wrong, and they could just run something crazy in the first drive, and Ja'Marr Chase breaks a 70-yard touchdown or 72-yard touchdown like he did against them last time.
I was gonna say, that's my thought, is if the Bengals just come out first play, take a deep shot, and score a touchdown, that's gonna set the tone. The Bengals.
I don't know. See, I don't know though, because Ja'Marr Chase.
It wasn't a deep shot last time.
No, it was just a short route that he broke open, right? So that it was 72, 68, and the other one was like in the 30s, right? Because he had over 200 yards receiving in that game.
Right.
So they're going to have a plan for Ja'Marr Chase. That's just what it is. They're going to have to. So I think, to allude back to what Corey said, the last 2 or 3 weeks, Tyler Boyd is going to have to get more involved in this game. That's where the Bengals need to, or Burrow needs to kind of get comfortable, is to get Higgins and Boyd involved and Uzomah involved, to not make Ja'Marr not necessarily as open.
Corey, who you got?
Oh yeah. So he got,
You know who I have.
yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
I'm taking the Bengals.
All right.
I'm riding this train to the promised land, baby. I'm here.
That's right. Good. So one of the things that you had talked about in your points was Joe Burrow's processing and holding onto the ball too long. I do agree. He did hold on to the ball too long in some instances. At the same time, a lot of what Joe Burrow does in that success is that showtime, right? But what it really comes down to is making that one guy miss, having that confidence to make that first guy miss, and then I can hit that guy, right? I want him to continue to do that this week. I want him to continue to do that and try and make those plays because that's where he shines. That's how he plays football. Patrick Mahomes is the same way. They're the exact same way in that regard. I want him to continue to do that, but I want him to do it at a higher clip. And how do you make sure that he's able to do that at a higher clip? It comes down to communication between the offensive line. Last week it was terrible. It was terrible against Tennessee. And
Bad.
why was that? Why was the communication so poor? If you looked at when the Bengals were breaking the huddle, it was 20 or less seconds almost every single time. They didn't have the time to get the protection set at the line. They didn't have the time to do their pre-motion and expose what they were doing. They didn't have the time because they were getting the plays in too late, breaking the huddle too late, getting to the line too late, not getting the communication, the motion, and things like that. I look for the Bengals to be a much higher tempo offense. Here's the play. Break it. Go. Get to the line. Run it. Get the communication. Okay, you see this is here. Let's run this play. Go. I look for them to break the huddle 25 seconds plus in the play clock. They're gonna need to keep that tempo moving. And honestly, I know you talked a little bit about Kansas City's defense and how they've improved. I think they're the worst defense that we will be playing so far this season. The only time we will play a better defense than what we've already faced is if we hit LA in the Super Bowl. I think Sorensen in the Kansas City secondary is going to get picked on all day, and he's suspect. He's suspect. And in terms of them shadowing or clouding on Jamar Chase, I do think a little bit of that's going to happen. I still think Jamar Chase gets over 100 yards receiving in this game. I think the Bengals are ready to pick the secondary apart. In my opinion, this is the weakest defense we'll have faced because Kansas City is not going to sit there and just drop back and just be like, all right, you can have all the underneath stuff. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to stick a little bit tighter to a lot of these guys, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to hit the deep ball. And I'm excited about it. You mentioned Tyler Boyd, and you mentioned a little bit of T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins has quietly had a very good postseason. 85 yards against Tennessee. 85 yards against Tennessee last week. Look for T to shine, especially in the red zone, where the Bengals have struggled over the last couple of games, not scoring touchdowns. A lot of field goals, right? We need to start converting those into 6 over 3. And I really, really, really think T. Higgins is an answer for that, an answer for us to be more productive. The key to the Bengals offense, again, is going to be getting out of the huddle quickly, getting to the line, being able to process things for Joe Burrow. If we can see that happening, huge game changer. Another game changer, getting Joe Mixon going. If the Bengals are productive in the run game, which they haven't been over the last 2 months, basically, if they're productive in that run game, that changes everything. That changes everything. So I look at these two teams. I look at the Chiefs. I look at the Bengals. They're probably two of the top 5 offenses in football, right? We would say the Bills are up there. The Rams are probably up there. Obviously, the Chiefs. I think the Bengals are there. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing another offense that's extremely potent right now. But right, those are kind of the creme de la creme of offensive potency right now. I think they're very close in skill. Then you look at the defense. Whose defense is better, in your opinion? I think the Bengals have a better defense than the Chiefs. I really, really do. I think from top to bottom, the Bengals have less weaknesses. I think we were able to shut down Tyreek Hill. He had 10 yards against the Bengals last time they played. Travis Kelce, under 50. No tutties. No, he did have a touchdown. I'm sorry. He did have a touchdown. I just think I don't think this game is. I think we're gonna win by. All right. I got the Bengals by 10, guys. I'm serious. I really do. I got the Bengals by 10. I feel really good about this matchup. And maybe I'm back here next week and I look like a complete asshole. and that's okay. That's I'm not Nostradamus, but I feel really good about this matchup, and I got number 9 taking snaps. There's zero reason why I shouldn't trust that to lead us to a dub. Who day?
There you have it. You heard it here first. Either way, it's gonna be another great weekend of football. Regardless, I'll be at Todd's house holding Declan the entire game because that seemed to be a good.
That worked. It worked.
It worked.
He was holding Declan when Evan McPherson kicked that field goal.
So you're not a little stitious. You're superstitious.
Like Mary and I were passing the child back and forth. Like when the Bengals went on offense, I was holding him. When they went on defense, she had him.
Good call.
Yeah, it worked. It worked the whole game.
Guys, I just want to just make a comment here. I am so incredibly proud of this football team. I'm so incredibly proud of this team, and the city is galvanized around this team, and it is. I wasn't sure I'd ever see this in my life. The Bengals competing one game away from the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship. I never thought I'd see it, and it's a very, very tough matchup. Probably the toughest that they've had as a team, and regardless of the outcome, the future is very, very bright in Cincinnati. That being said, let's go fucking take it to the C words or the Kansas City football team and get those racist fuckers out of here. Let's go. Who day?
All right, chat. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us this evening. We will be back Sunday at a time that is to be determined. We are going to be waiting for our field reporter to get position. Boots on the ground. And he's going to give us the go ahead. So just be looking out for the notification. We'll try to let you know a half hour, 45 minutes before we go live. Just so you guys can have an idea. Just make sure you have a nice cold one in your hand, and we'll be joining you in that regard. So, kick ass the rest of your work weeks. Fantastic tonight, guys. Appreciate you coming out, and see you Sunday for some championship football.
Who day, baby? Let's go.